Right, we're talking about document examination, and I'll be specific with the handwriting and signature analysis, but the lecture or the workshop will be focused on handwriting. Handwriting, as we all know, is one of the basic practice in our schools, right from kindergarten, sometimes right from the house. I would like to tell us that in the forensic context, due to the peculiar nature of handwriting, handwriting can be used to actually apprehend or could be used to carry out criminal investigation. There are some basic features in handwriting and some principles that are guiding this forensic application of handwriting. But before I continue, I would like to make one note clear between forensic question document or forensic handwriting analysis and graphology. Graphology and forensic handwriting analysis, they are two different things. Where graphology comes into play, I'll still encourage us to embrace graphological textbooks, but we should get to have this little understanding that graphology centers on the personality of an individual. And when it comes to forensic graphology, it is beyond general graphology. So some persons will say graphologists and forensic handwriting examiners are the same thing. There are little distinction. As far as the forensic context is into play, it deals with the handwriting, nothing to do with the personality of the individual being investigated or the question document being investigated. Sometimes I tell people that the graphology is more of psychological base than the main practical aspect of a handwriting investigation. I'll start by telling us basic principles in handwriting. There are two basic principles of handwriting in forensic investigation. The way handwritings are being developed, there is no way that you have two people write exactly alike. No matter how they look alike, there must be distinction between these individuals. Peradventure, there is a document seen being as a question document and you have sample to be compared with. There is no way they will be exactly alike. There might be variations that will pick out of it. So one of the basic principles is that no two individuals write exactly alike. Then the other one is that all writing is natural. No matter how individuals try to be specific, try to be meticulous, try to be detailed, there must be variations. But in the forensic context or in forensic investigations, there are some variations that one cannot do without, that they use in solving crime. They use in solving crime. They use in solving crime. Sorry for that. Then, among these principles, there are principles that assist in the identification of handwriting. Apart from this very first one, that two individuals, no two people write exactly alike. Individual characteristics are unique to a particular writer, exist in every person, distinguishing it from every other writing. Yeah. The act of writing is a skill learned through repetition until it becomes a habit. Writing, writing as a whole, the people are so conscious how beautiful their writing will be. For some of us that they go to nursery, we use chalk and slate. But despite that, some persons try to beautify their handwriting. They practice, and master this writing. At that time, it becomes their own kind of this normal form of writing is based on mental image of length, letters, design. Before you start writing, you must have an image of maybe a model you try to follow. Maybe when we go to nursery schools, we look at the writing handbook, we try to copy them continuously until we master it. People stylize their writing from the method they were taught. Just as I said, nursery school, those that use their handwriting book, they copy the styles until it becomes part of them. Many writing habits are subconscious and therefore cannot be changed by the writer. Once you master a thing, it is very free for you to do it. It goes with you. It's very difficult to change. When we go ahead, we will see some of these things. People adopt writing styles by copying those they like. Some writings, when I see them, I say, this writing is beautiful. How can I be able to copy it? But when I start to copy and imitate that person for a very long time, I will try to write like that person, but it will never be exactly that person. Variations will still be there. A person's writing changes over the course of his or her lifetime. This is one basic principle that examiners need to consider when a question document is given to you and you need to request for samples or exemplar, where the age and the time of the writing must be put in place. As we grow older, our writing is no longer the same thing with that of our young age or that of our primary school age. There might be some differences, also there might be some similarities, but there will be variations. As a general style of writing, there are two basic styles of writing. That is the general. We have the Palmer method of writing and the Xenoblosar's method of writing. People that learn writing, if you fall through these categories of writing, like the US make use of these two types. If you fall through these categories of writing, meaning you might have a general characteristic of everybody that passed through that style of writing. This is where you have some writing to have a group of similarities, while some will not have a similarity. What am I trying to say is this: there is a general style of writing, and this general style of writing makes writers to have some features that are very common. In the general style, we have two basic styles that are being adopted generally. We have over 50, but two basic styles, which is the Palmer and the Xenoblosar method of writing. We will not dwell much on those areas. This is the nitty-gritty of handwriting. Features of handwriting. I will specify, or I will dwell on three basic features: the movement, the spatial relationship, and the form. Every other qualities that are present are itemized under these three basic features. We have the move, the form. In every examination or in every analysis, the features that are present in the handwriting are the key ingredients of the analysis. Just like in fingerprinting, when you bring out the finger, there are Goitin details that are present. How many of them can you identify? With these features, you need to analyze a document and compare between the question document and the samples given to you, if they are from the same source or if they are from different writers. The movement, this includes the direction, the slant, the rhyme involved in your writing, the quality of lines, the speed. The rhyme is usually disrupted when writers attempt to copy another. This is where signature What you look at for, one key features you look at for in analyzing a signature, when somebody tried to copy another person, the rhyme, that is the flow, the directions of the connections, the movements of the writing will never be exactly the same. The most significant factor in identification of forgery, the rhyme is one key factor that can be used to identify a forged document. Spatial relationship, this includes size, proportion, spacing between letters, words, and other key comments, and the utilization of other key features, the arrangement and the alignment. In every handwriting, how the writer align the writing, if it is a A4 book, is it on top the green line, or is any part of the writing falling below the line, or even in the plain sheet, are they going in a straight line? Then the alignment, look at the edge, how are they aligned? Is there a pattern that it is joint or a cutoff? All these are key features that one have to look at. One key thing in penmanship, the style of writing, how you acquire it. The penmanship details the proper proportion. Upper loop letters are twice as high as the middle loop letters. We are talking in terms of when writing, there are some letters that are like P, for instance, G, for instance. The P could be up, the G is down. These are looped. These letters are looped, or will have, they are not like the I's. We have three basic proportions. We have the upper, middle, and the lower. Some writings, it is at the upper side, while some are the lower side. Excuse me. While some letters will take all of them. Okay. Yeah. Some letters will take the three forms. Capital letters can run as high as 3 times the middle zone letters. Middle zone letters include the A, C, E, I, M. All these letters are letters that fall within the middle zone, including X. Letters with middle zones areas include this. All these ones are part of it. While upper and lower loop letters without distinct middle zones are included, as in F, I, L, and T. The zoning here we're talking about is these very structures where they are positioned in the letter. They have sizes. Sometimes they take about 0.25 inch in every part. The letter F is the only letter that fully extends into all three zones. So when you're writing that, it takes both sides. It has the upper loop and the lower loop. Those are key areas you look at for when you are looking at the formation. If the handwriting is having letter F, how is it written? Key areas to look at for. You can see some of the writings. Then another basic form here is basic picture here is the font related to the shape of letters. Includes the method of constructing and writing letters, so including the initial and terminal strokes. These are basic areas that want the connections, the initial, terminal, medium, and the letter design. The writing strokes consist of lines, curves in various directions, forming individual letter shapes. Lines can be vertical lines, can be horizontal lines, can be diagonal. Most of the times, if some persons are writing the L, some persons are writing the I. This design are very key. Curves are also loop, cycle, or part of cycle. Like C, for instance, is part of cycle. The D, the other way around, is the part of cycle. How are they arranged? How are they being designed on the handwriting? The method of construction. This is another area to look out for, and it's a very key individual characteristics in handwriting analysis. Forgers will imitate letter forms, but they fail to follow the same method of construction of letters and words when they do so. This method of construction here, we're looking at the strokes involved in the letter, the initial stroke of that very letter. We are talking in terms of how that letter is constructed. The initial stroke. This is a significant aspect of letter forms. The design or the way the letter is formed. Is there anything before the alphabet? Any design before the alphabet or after the alphabet? Which is the one before the alphabet is the lead in. That is a stroke called lead in. And the terminal is the one after, at the end of the alphabet writing. What ends it? How is it presented? Is it coiled? Is it loop? Is it faint? Is it straight? Is it hook? All these are things we must consider in terms of construction. Then the terminal stroke, we see they may be straight, curved, or hook, long, short, and are consistent with writers. These are overlooked by forgers. No matter how the forgers treat.
Okay. Mr. Olomu Emmanuel, can you please continue?
Okay, can you hear me?
Clearly, sir.
Okay, let me start from here. What are the indicators of forgery in signature, either simulated or traced? What are the... before going to that one, a mark or sign made by an individual on an instrument of document to signify knowledge is known as a signature. I think that one is clear to us. And a signature is used for approval, acceptance, or obligation. It serves to indicate their intent to the acceptance of some set of circumstances, or to be simply associated with such an agreement. Now, let's move ahead because of time. What are the indicators of forgery in a signature? The first one I'll mention is tremor. Tremor is, every time you write with stroke. Those lines are called strokes. At times, it may be just a single stroke that you use. Some use a single stroke to form a letter, while some use like two strokes. The strokes are supposed to be smooth because it's something you'll be doing for a long time. When we are seeing primary school or secondary school or nursery school, like we heard from Mr. B.A., we were taught to write the same way. We were given a copy book to write. So we are taught to write the same way, to give the same space, to write the same, but it gets to a stage when after we might have mastered the art of writing, then we begin to deviate from the default that we were taught. And that is the level of our deviation from the standard that was taught. It will show how our writing will look like. For example, some will write their D. They will start from the right hand, move to the left hand, then they use another stroke. While some will use just single stroke to complete the whole thing. They will start from the middle, they will go back to the, they will go down, move up with just a stroke. So we deviate from the standard that we're written. So now this line, the line that we use to form this, to form our writings, the lines supposed to be smooth, because when we write at this age, after mastering the art of writing, we are no more thinking on how to write. It has become automatic, become part of us. You don't need to think when they ask you to write your name. You don't need to be thinking on those alphabet. You write it automatically because your brain has customized it. So, and your brain is what is controlling your fingers. So you write, the lines are supposed to be fluid, that is supposed to be smooth moving. But when it appears under magnifying lens, as if the hand is the hand of a shaking, somebody, a writer that his hand was shaking while he was writing. That is what we call tremor. Tremor, something that looks woolly, as if the hand of the writer is shaking. That is tremulous writing. So when the first thing you look at, that you look for is tremor. When any signature contains tremor, something is wrong with it. The only exception is when the writer is sick, or the writer has become so old, and his hand cannot move. The advance in age has affected his hand. Another reason why you may have tremor in a signature is when somebody is written under duress. Maybe a gun is pointed at your head and they say sign the signature. It's possible to have tremor, but under normal circumstances, it is supposed to be fluid. The fluidity is supposed to be there. So tremor is one of the signs of forged signature. Then another thing you look at is blunt start and blunt stop. After you have mastered the art of writing, when you want to write anything, like for example, you want to write Emmanuel, before you start writing E, your pen is already flying, and after you finish writing, your pen is also flying out of the paper. So normal writing, we have sharp, or what we call tapered beginning and tapered ending. But a forger, because a forger is copying, we look at where you want to copy and begin to write. Therefore, putting your pen down will make a ink or a drop of ink to be on the beginning of the writing and the end of the writing. Now, those drop of ink, we call them blob. We call them blob. But those drop of ink, those blob, you may not see it with ordinary eyes unless you magnify it. Maybe you magnify it with lens or microscope or with your computer. So what you look at is blunt start. Another thing you look for is blunt start and blunt start, an indicator of forgery. I said the first one is tremor. When you have tremor, you have blunt start and stop. These are indicators of forgery. Another one I will mention quickly is pen lift and hesitation. Pen lift and hesitation. When you are writing, for example, you want to write O. You want to write, supposed to move smoothly. Maybe you start from the left up, left down, and right again to join the stroke and make it a cycle. There are places where you are not supposed to have broken stroke or broken lines. Those broken lines, the result of hesitation. That is, the forger was looking at where he wanted to copy, and because he want to make sure that the forge is pictorially the same or similar to the one from where he's copied from. So as he's looking, he will mistakenly lift up his pen, and by the time he starts again, there's going to be a microscopic gap between where he stopped and where he started. Ordinary eyes may not be able to see, unaided eye may not be able to see the gap. but the gap under magnifying device will be shown. And that is what we call pen lift and hesitation, because it was that is pen lift. Then hesitation is when you are about to make a drastic change, which is supposed to be done automatically. But in that place, the forger will want to look at how that will look like and then start again. So in that place, you have what you call hesitation. So when you have gaps, where you're supposed not to have gaps, we call it pen lift and hesitation. In a normal handwriting, you are not to have such a thing. Then another one that I will mention is speed and pressure. In fact, this is very, very important. Speed and pressure. In forged signature, the pen moves slowly rather than with the dynamic movement associated with most genuine writings. In a genuine writing, you have the pressure will change. And because the pressure changes, that is why you see, if you look at your handwriting, your writings, all those things that you have written in the time past, you see that the thickness of the lines are not the same. The thickness of the stroke are not the same because there's because you are changing pressure. You are changing, your pressure is changing, the pressure of your hand, the pressure you start on the paper through your pen is changing. That is normal. But under when somebody is copying, because he is written slowly, because written is bound to have what we call slow speed. It is going to slow down, and because it slow down, you have almost thickness, almost the same thickness all through. In fact, without even using magnifying lens at times, you will see that the thickness is the same all through. So when you have pressure, when the pressure is not changing, it's not varying, you have just the same pressure all through. That means the speed was slow and the speed was not changing. So in that case, that's another strong indicator, because every forged handwritten will be written slowly. It's more or less a copy work. It's a drawing work. When you go to Oluwole, a part of Lagos where people normally do forged certificate or forged document, what they do there is that they write. They copy. They copied original into another written instrument. And what they do is that they write. These are artists. And by the time they copy your signature, you look at it, what you normally look at as a layman is just the letter formation. The form alone, the design is what you look at. So when you look at the design of your normal signature and that of the forged one, you won't see the difference between the two. But a trained question document examiner will be able to look at it and say, yes, there are a lot of differences between them. Then another thing I want to, the last thing I will mention before going further is passion. Passion is an indicator, is when you have double lines, where you are not supposed to have double lines. And the result, what causes this double line is because the forger saw that that he has gap where he's supposed not to have gap. So he want to close the gap by making sure his pen, he will draw another stroke. But this stroke, it doesn't matter how careful the person is, it will show, especially under magnifying lens. Under magnifying device, it will show that there are double lines where there's supposed to be double line, and that second line he wanted to use to cover up something, to cover up the deficiency in the writing. So, as I said, we have tremor, indicators of forgery: tremor, blunt start and blunt stop, pen lift and hesitation, speed and pressure. We have two categories of not genuine signature, that is forged signature. The first one is a normal hand forgery, that I will categorize this into normal hand forgery, and the other one simulation. Normal hand forgery, during the creation of non-genuine signature, the writer simply writes a signature. There is no attempt to duplicate or make the forgery look like a genuine signature. Any resemblance to the genuine signature is just coincidental. Usually, the perpetrator of this signature does not have a model. He doesn't have a model signature at hand. He just writes something. So that's a form of forgery. We call it normal hand forgery. Then another one is simulation, and this one is more common. So the simulation can be categorized into like three. Then the first one is the first simulation. The first category under simulation is freehand forgery. Freehand forgery, which is constructed by using a genuine signature as a model. You have a model. The forger will have a model and use that model to forge a new one on a document. So that is freehand forgery. Freehand forgery, because it is drawn. Because of the fact that it is drawn, it bears a good pictorial resemblance to the genuine signature. But however, it depends on the skill level of the forger. And just as you said, the indicators that you can see there as in the simulated forgery as tremor, hesitation, pen lift, blunt start and blunt stop, patching, and then static pressure. Because the production is not automatic, they will have a slow drawing appearance. So even though except when you have two simple signature, like somebody that you use just a single letter as a signature, that one may be practiced by a forger several times and you will get it. But in a normal complex signature, there's no way a forger will forge it and you will not get it. Then another simulation is tracing. Tracing is done by one of these methods. It can be done through a transmitted light or carbon immediate, where a paper will be placed, the original will be placed on a paper where they want to transfer it, and a pressure will be inserted, maybe using pen or using some other instrument to make sure that they have indentation of the original, and then they will now use pen to trace the pressure. I mean that place, that indentation. At times they may use carbon paper. If they use carbon paper, they don't need to trace it again. Then at times they may just place it on it and trace it. So because of time, let's move ahead. Indicators of disguise. At times okay, before I go to disguise, before I go to the guys, let me say one or two things. Please let me check my time. The registrars, ma'am, please check the time for me.
Okay, sir. I'm coming, I think.
It's 10:53 now.
It's 10:53, yes. I'm trying to see when you are supposed to round off.
Okay.
Okay, by 11 a.m. Yes.
Okay. Let me,
and then we have a discussion.
Mr. Ibira said something that I don't want to go back into what he has said, and it's because he has done well on those areas. Let me just move ahead and say one or two things. I want to talk on indicators of speed reading. When somebody writes fastly, the same way it's supposed to write, you have a smooth and broken strokes and rounded forms. You have increased pen pressure. The pressure may increase. Then you have increase in the margin to the left at the beginning of the lines. Then another thing is that you have great differences in emphasis and upstroke. When you are writing, when a normal person is writing, anything you are writing and you are pushing the pen away from you on the paper, you call it upstroke. When you are writing and pushing the pen towards yourself, you call it downstroke. Now, when in a normal writing, the downstroke and the upstroke supposed not to have the same thickness because the pressure are not the same. When you are writing and you are pushing the pen away from you, the pen pressure is lighter. But when you are writing and you are putting the pen is moving towards yourself, that is downstroke. The downstroke is supposed to be thicker than the in size than the upstroke. So these are the things that you look at. Then now, assuming you want to examine a signature, for example, what do we do? The first thing to do is maybe there's a disputed signature. You need a standard that you call exemplar. Is you have what they give to you is sample, but the name you call it a standard or exemplar. Standard or exemplar is the known signature of the writer or the alleged writer, the known signature of the alleged writer. Now, you have to collect standard. The standard, that is the sample that person has written, that the known person has written, you collect it. Then the disputed one, you have to compare them one by one. You compare them. The first thing is to collect about the standard. You collect about nothing less than 15, between 15 and 20 signatures of the alleged writer. You collect it, then you study the what you call range of writing. Those things that Mr. ABA has spoken about. You try to study it, how he constructs his own writing, how he constructs it. You study his slant. You study his spatial relationship, that if the space between one line and the other. So you study those ones, you measure those lines and find the average. You look at the margins. What space is in space that the man normally give, the writer normally give. Then how does he start his writings? All those things you take all those into consideration and write them down. So then you look at the forge, or this time around we won't call it forge. It's a disputed one. Look at the disputed and look at those features that you have mentioned. Look at those features compared to the feature that you see inside the standard. So you compare the two together before you can arrive at a conclusion. A feature, maybe, for example, if the prayer, even though prayer is a very strong indicator of forgery, if the prayer are not the same, just only prayer is not enough. You have to consider other factors, other features on the range of writing of the alleged writer and that of disputed. You combine the whole thing together before you can form your opinion. And there are two types of exemplar that you can collect, that can use to examine other handwriting or to verify a signature. The first one is known as collected. Collected is far better than the other one. Collected is those signatures that you have on the document that alleged writer has written in the time past. Maybe the letter he has written to as an application to a company, the one he sent to bank, the one he used when he was looking for employment, all those things will be collected. Then apart from that one, we have another categories of exemplar or standard that you call requested. Requested is when you have the suspect. The suspect is alive and he doesn't have those things that you can lay hand upon. Those one in the archive, the signature in the archive. You have to ask him to write. He will provide a paper or written instrument similar to the one used for the question document, and you dictate some things to him to write. You will not allow him to see the questions. So you dictate it to him several times to write, and while you are dictating, you have to use some method. For example, you may just start, if such a person is a religious person, you start something, you tell him to begin to write. If you get to a stage, you can start something relating to religion or relating to politics, something that you know he likes. So if that one will change his mind, if he has been trying, if he wanted to disguise or he has been disguising his handwriting, that one will make him to relax and you start suddenly again to start dictating to him, and just to make sure that anything called disguise is exposed if he had been disguising his his writings. Then after the signature, after the examination, you have to write a report. But before you write your report, is the best standard is to give it to another a question document examiner to do verification on it before you write your report, because that question will come upon on that one later at the court. When somebody is under alcohol, there are something you can see in his handwriting or in his signature. These are the indicators of alcoholism in handwriting. The first one is inconsistent in the form of repeated letters. Somebody want to write Olomu now, you have about O, 2 O inside Olomu, and the form of first O is not the same to the form of the second O. You can, it's an indicator of inconsistency. If that such kind of inconsistency is an indicator of alcoholism or drug, and somebody on that drug, then another that thing is a meaningless blobs. Meaningless blobs. I said the other time that blobs means a drop of ink. Drops of ink. Blobs are drops of ink. So when you see blobs where you are not supposed to see them, and they are many and they are meaningless, you know there are some blobs that you see as an indicator of a forgery. There are some blobs that are not indicators of forgery, but indicators of alcoholism. Somebody that is under alcohol will place his pen anyhow, anywhere on the paper. So you see blobs, meaningless blobs. Then you see external stroke that are too, maybe they was drawn too much abnormally. Then you have great enlarged writings that are too big. You have uneven baseline. Every writer will always a baseline, whether the paper given to that person is lined or not, but there's always an imaginary baseline. Let me stop here so that people can ask questions. Maybe the question will take me to where I didn't touch. You know, I didn't prepare for this. I stand in for somebody. So please ask questions so that question can take us to where I didn't touch.
Thank you so much, sir. Like they say, a soldier is always prepared for the day of battle. You're a gallant soldier. Thank you so much, sir. So questions, please. Observations, comments? Okay, while we are brooding on the questions we want to ask, if you are here to drop your email address or phone number or WhatsApp number, please kindly drop it in the comment section so we can send you the slides and documents for this workshop during the course of the week. Kindly drop your phone numbers and your email addresses in the comment section so we can send you the slides and documents during the course of the week. And also, for those who just joined, this workshop certificates would have a CBD credit. And so for those who are currently in this workshop and did not pay for this workshop, you still have the grace to pay so that you can collect your certificates. So the certificates are CBD credits, which you can use, which makes it more authentic and you can use it anywhere. So if you are interested, you can still pay during the course of the week. You can reach out to me as a registrar. Please, please mute your device. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. So
Yes,
there's a
somebody is
question.
asking a question.
Yes, there's a
Yes.
question on the chat. Is it possible for a forger to gain proficiency on a single signature after consistent practice? If yes, how can the forgery be detected? If no, why?
If a signature is too simple, if it is too simple, then the answer is yes. Just as I said, if I'm using just a letter like letter A that I write in a certain manner, just a letter, or like markings that some people use on counter at the bank. If I'm using that one as a signature, somebody can practice several times. So it will get to a state that his brain will be accustomed to how it is being written. So it will write without, you won't be able to see the signs of forgery on it. It will be difficult. Such a signature cannot be detected easily, except there are some other things that can use, maybe on the, if it is just a matter of the signature alone, you may not be able to, you won't be able to detect it. If it is too simple.
Okay, sir. The other aspect of the question says, if no, why?
The why is what I said.
Okay.
If it is too simple, because that person might have, the forger might have practiced it and become proficient in it. Then now, if he sign it, those signs of forgery that you look for will not be there again, because he has mastered it over a period of time. It's just the same way you master the original writer, master it. So if the forger master it enough, and that signature is too simple, you know, there are some, maybe few signatures that are too simple. So it is possible. It is possible. But on a question document, because we are talking about a question document this time around, it's not just about handwriting alone. On a question document, there are some other areas, there are some other things you can do to a question document to detect forgery, not signature verification alone. Even the handwritten, if it is, if the document is created by handwritten signature, there are ways you can examine it and say this writing does not belong to this man. And another thing is, maybe pages has been removed, and some other things there, like if it is a photocopy, or if it is a typewriting, if it is typewriting, we can also examine it. But all this cannot be discussed in this workshop, because it will be too, we will be going to another point that will be too much for us.